How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
It really is the story of Joss Butler, who's 97 not out, has taken Gujarat over in a chase which they controlled for long parts, Raidu, but it was getting tricky at the end.
I mean, they were in complete control, to be very, very honest, because you have a set batsman who has been batting past his 50, and he's that one guy who batted till the end, and Rutherford supported him brilliantly, and also Tiwatia doing Tiwatia things, coming and finishing it off, hitting those sixes of the first ball that he faces, and it's been quite a clinical chase. They set it up brilliantly. Sai Sudarshan batted really well at the start. So they were never behind the run rate. Maybe for a couple of overs they were, but that Starks over really eased things up for Rajasthan.
Yeah, it jumps out as perhaps where the game turned, because 66 and 6, Delhi would have been interested. Butler taking down Stark, 20 of that over. Then it becomes 46 and 5 with wickets in hand, and you're always backing GT to win.
Yeah, that over probably was the over that sealed the game for them. Taking him down, I'm not too sure. Watching it, it's really just little Butler using the pace on a few deliveries, and one, was the captain and the bowler, were the fields in the right place for where he wanted to land the ball? I think those are the questions that you could probably ask. It didn't look like he went out and actually tried to take risks to get the 20 in the over. It was more just using the pace of him. And I mean, Stark, he's landed a couple of those balls in the right area, but he seems to have found gaps and like effortlessly managed to put 20 on the board with regards to that over. But Joss Butler, we spoke about the top three. One of them always batting through. Wasn't the openers tonight. It was Joss Butler. And if there's one guy that you want, chasing an innings for you, guy who knows the template, who never feels like he's going to panic, it's Joss Butler.
Especially in the chase is where, of those three, the one who needs to stay the longest is Butler.
I mean, one among those three will do it for GT, and today it's Butler's turn. And he's played quite brilliantly, and sometimes not having the depth in batting makes you play innings like that, where you know that you have to stay till the end if your team needs to win. So classic Butler innings that we have seen one last year as well, when he played for RR against RCB. So this is that kind of an innings, but that innings was quite special because the surface also had something in it. But this surface was quite conducive to batting, and also I felt some of the spinners didn't bowl really well to him. Vipraj Nigam pitched quite full and allowed him to really hit those sixers.
It is an innings that's taken a lot out of him as well, because at the end of that Stark over, he was visibly knackered. It was a substantial hydration break, but Joss Butler still doing these things in the IPL.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long fielding innings from GT, and he was obviously keeping wicket for that, took a brilliant catch. So I'm not surprised that he was pretty knackered. But yeah, just to Radi's point, I think he's become a really, really clinical chaser in particular, and I think that's something he's spoken about having learned from all his time at the IPL, but particularly, sharing a dressing room with some of the West Indian players who sort of speak about chasing runs in a slightly different method to what I think he would have been brought up with back home, in that they sort of look at the runs and balls equation and think, how many sixes is that? And think they can always catch up rather than always thinking about staying ahead of the rate. So even at 66 in 6 overs, as the equation was, I'm sure Butler would have been thinking, this is actually fine here, because that's not very many sixes to close the gap between runs and balls. That's 3 or 4 hits away. And he proved that with that boundary flurry. I think the other thing that really stood out was how well he targeted bowlers. Radi said maybe Vipraj didn't bowl that well to him, but he was 29 off 15 against him and 12 off 12 against Kuldeep, which shows that I think he's clinical in how he attacks weak links in a bowling attack that he spots.
And quite fitting when you speak of Butler's intel from conversations with West Indians, that it was with the West Indian. Sherfain Rutherford and Butler is the stand, because one more wicket and you start getting into that middle order which hasn't been tested that much. Rutherford's is an innings of intrigue as well, because he had a tough time in his first 10-12 balls, but caught up.
Yeah, caught up, and also it was quite a matured innings because Butler was going well at one end, and also I felt there were these conversations in the middle that Butler was having with Rutherford, saying that we don't maybe have that depth. So it is important that we both have a good partnership, and that showed. You don't really need both guys going all guns blazing at once in a chase, especially when you're chasing 200 these days. You just need one batsman going and another one supporting. So that's what Rutherford has done brilliantly today.
And can't close the lid on the GT batting without Rahul Tewatia. The nichest of niche roles, comes in to bat 3-4 balls in a chase, and more often than not seals the deal.
How many times has he done it though? I mean,
We've lost count.
he does it all the time. You know, he's the type of guy that can come in and hit sixes from ball one. So he's a huge asset to have. I mean, you know, if it happens once or twice, then you can sort of say, okay, maybe a bit lucky here. But he's done it time after time after time. What I do like about him is that bowlers know that he's got the lap shot and he gets underneath the ball. So it's not like he's going to smash you down the ground. He can do that, but especially up front, in those first couple of balls, if you get it wrong and he uses the pace, as we saw there with Stark, you know, just getting underneath it and hitting it like that, it puts you under a lot of pressure as a bowler because you know you don't want to be bowling back of a length when you're defending defend 11 tonight.
Yeah.
Because then anything can happen. You're going to have a top edge over, so you want to nail your Yorker, and he hits Yorkers extremely well.
And the start of that last over, there was a funny feeling that, oh, wait, can Stark pull it off again? But the sense of composure from the batter in the execution of pulling it off in that moment, Raidu.
And yeah, I think that's what sums it up in terms of Tewatia's composure as well as his batting prowess against the Yorkers, because he breaks his wrists at the right moment, and also that's the technique that he has developed, and it's quite effective. We have seen Hetmeyer struggle because he was not breaking his wrist, he was just trying to hit him straight, which is quite difficult when the ball is tailing a bit. But this guy, when he gets underneath and breaks his wrists, he generates so much more power and also the elevation to send the ball over the fence. So he has developed it and he's been executing it brilliantly under pressure. So that shows that he's become one of the best finishers in the IPL.
Yeah, 6 and 4 to end the game with 4 balls to spare, and it means such a week for Mitch Stark, who nailed those Yorkers in the 20th in the last game, then the super over, and now here he is with that last over, and in fact, lots of moments in this game, the 15th from Butler, and also declining a run out at the non-strikers end to Sai Sudarshan. All action for Stark.
Yeah, what a week. Thinking back to bowling a super over, bowling 5 overs in a T20 game is rare enough. But yeah, to have had all of that happen to him tonight, yeah, quite something. I think he did, missed his Yorker for probably one of the only times this week, that first ball to Tewatia, which disappeared over mid-wicket. But I think Tewatia has now played 100 IPL games, and it's incredible to think that he came in as a leg spinner who could bat a bit at the end, and is now very much a specialist finisher. He's coming in for a few balls and whacking it.
Has he faced 500 balls?
Oh, good question. Probably not.
I think if you're Mitchell Stark though, and at the beginning of the week you say to him, listen, you're going to play 2 games. There's going to be a 9 over that you're going to have to defend, and there's 11 run over that you're going to have to defend. What would you take? I can guarantee you right now, he'll say, I'll take one win and 1 loss.
That's fair. That's fair. Would you have done the run out at the non-strikers end?
No, I wouldn't do that. I mean, it's quite subjective, but maybe if you need 2 of the last ball, and if somebody is really running, then maybe, but not there.
So it's situation based.
You must check your social media accounts.
You'll be flying.
Yeah.
I think, it's within the laws of the game. It's the rules of the game. It's like a lot of things at the moment. The leg buys if a decision doesn't go your way. The wicketkeeper, the line in front, breaking that. I think there are a lot of things that are rules, and rules are there. So no one's got a problem with it. Whether it needs to be changed in the future is the question I think that people might always ask and sort of debate about.
Has it ever come up in your coaching career, Bouch? Because obviously in the past few years it feels like there has been a shift where it's become something that happens a little bit more often than it used to.
You're talking about the keeping thing?
No, I mean specifically on the run out at the bowler's end.
It's something that I think that you like to discuss and talk about behind closed doors. I think with social media now and people being able to view their opinions quite a bit, you're sort of scared to voice it because people, there's going to be a backlash. It might be 50-50, but you don't want that sort of confrontation on social media. But it's within the laws of the game. So everyone knows what the law is. Don't break the law, and you shouldn't be having these conversations. Whether it's the right law or the wrong law, that's the debate.